Hello everyone, this is a group reading of a very short fanfic. It is called A Killer's Mind, and it is about the four Pie sisters. I don't know why Mod's not in this, maybe they hate Mod or something. Anyway, here are my co-readers. Jory, say hi.
Hi.
Drew, say hi, you faggot.
Fuck you.
And Alita, Alita, say hi.
Hello.
Okay, so we're gonna read this. Pretty much, at least we do one chapter. Each chapter is really fucking short, like 500 words. So, yeah, we're gonna do this. Chapter 1, Pinkamena Diane Pie. I am Pinkamena. I am responsible for the disappearing ponies in Ponyville. I do not work alone, as my three older sisters, Inky, Blinky, and Minky Pie, all share my hobby. This hobby is baking. More importantly, getting the secret ingredient. What is this ingredient, you ask? Why, it's none other than sugar, love, and flesh. Pony flesh gathered from our victims. What I see in the world is a place that needs more joy, but also a place that needs cupcakes baked to perfection. The right ingredients go a long way, and ponies are selected to be that sweet little touch, that little extra something that makes our cakes pop. You may have had some of our products before, never knowing you're possibly eating your best friend, or your sibling. I see the world as a place full of ripe, delicious ponies to be harvested, baked, and sold. How do I feel when doing this procedure? I feel alive, the blood dribbling down my hooves, a soft hide that I use in my dress, the hollow sounds of an empty skull as I paint and decorate it for display in my basement. Nothing can compare to the riveting joy and excitement I feel when on the job. The procedure is simple. Draw a number. Find the name for that number. Get the ponies, tie them up, and wait for them to wake in my basement. The unicorns, I cut their home before they wake up, as so they don't teleport or stab me with one of my knives. For Pegasi, I simply wait until they're conscious to cut the wings. Earth ponies, I just go straight to work cutting off their cutie mark once they're awake. After the cutie marks are removed, I place them upside down to dry. I then think of a fun way to entertain my guests, such as the hook game or electric shocks. After my games, I numb my guests and wait for it to kick in. Sometimes I have to give them some adrenaline to keep them awake so they can see the harvest. Once they are numbed, I cut their torso open to start the harvest. I make chokes of the many organs I pull out. I save the lungs and heart for last so they can last as long as possible before they fade. Once I'm all done with all the organs, I get the lungs out, then the heart, and I end the fun. My share of the cutie marks goes into a dress. Wings are sewn on the back so I look like I have many pairs of wings. The horns make a necklace, which makes funny sounds when I walk, like a set of wooden or bone keys. My playtime varies from pony to pony. Weaker ponies last much shorter, but tougher ones can go a long while. Although I like to talk, some ponies need to have their dirty little tongues cut off. Bad language and attitude makes for bad tasting cupcakes. Some ponies, however, just get annoying. I end up cutting their tongues if I'm working solo. Okay, and now Drew, it's your turn.
Alright. So I'm reading,
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, okay. I'll load that up right now. To Inky Pie. I am Inky Pie, or Marblestone Pie. I am the second oldest of my siblings, though they all consider me to be older. We run a baking business, and we have since we were young fillies. They started with Pinkamena, my youngest and most joyful sibling among the three. I see the world and its inhabitants as toys, things that I can bend to my will and crush. I can end one's life and will when necessary. These toys of feelings, they are emotional, living, breathing things that all have their lives ended at one point or another. I just end some of them a little sooner than expected. Not that any pony would care where they went, as no pony has since this operation began. I am not as creative or Pinky or Minky, but I am technical. I can find a way to keep my toys alive until I've had my fun. I usually enjoy the hooks game, where we insert 6 fishing hooks into the upper and lower lips of the victim, and we ask questions to him or her. For every wrong answer, a hook is yanked out, pulling a chunk of flesh with it. For every right answer, a chunk gets to stay another round until the victim answers wrong. If I am frustrated, I can call my sisters off if I can continue, and once I have the approving glances of my siblings, I pull as hard as I can on every last one of the strings. After that, the soundproof room echoes with screams and wails of pain as blood puddles up on the floor around the torture table. The pony can't talk as well as before, but they still beg for mercy. They beg to be released. They plead to be returned to live. Despite being mangled and distorted in such a way, they have no cutie mark. They may be missing an eye, maybe both lips, wings, horns, limbs, yet they still demand freedom from the torture. I laugh at this sometimes, but I remember that I need to work. Work now, laugh later. I keep things up until I feel I've done enough for one day, then I begin the harvest. I usually need to give an adrenaline shot to the pony before moving on. I pull out the organs starting with the intestines, then the liver, bladder, stomach, kidneys, and so on. I usually save the heart and lungs for last, for all other organs are in the bucket. I take out the lungs, pause for a moment, then take the heart. My share of cutie marks goes into a vest I'm making. Hide and feathers can be used as handbags or other accessories. My playtime is much shorter than that of my sisters, but I get much done that quickly. I don't fair in my games. If I play some of my own, as I go along, I can change, add, or take away rules to bend the odds in my favor. Other times I'll keep the game going somewhat fair, but still keeping it to where I have the upper hoof, just for the torturing to last longer. My favorite of these games is a picture pony, a game where I burn a shape into the limbs of the pony and have them guess what it is. I may make the rules to where they have to be extremely specific and exact for me to not make a burning hole in their limbs. I also may make it hard to tell what it is. It's even better that they can't see what it is I'm drawing since the head is locked in place.
Okay, Elite, Jory, you're up.
Chapter 3, Blinky Pie. I am Blinky Pie, otherwise known as Limestone Pie. I'm the second youngest sister to Pinkamena. My family was quite mean to us, but we thought it was normal, considering our quite bland and dull lifestyle, far away from other ponies. They kept me and my sisters from poor Obsidian. The poor thing locked up in the cellar for so long. I cried when I saw her condition, sunken eyes, all skin and bone. I thought she wouldn't make it. But she surprised us and is now strong and happy. But enough about Minky Pie, though. This is my mind we're looking at. I see the world as a place full of opportunistic characters. Characters that either play large roles or small roles. I like to take into consideration these niches that the creatures and characters have. A character like a flower salesman is the perfect pony, and not much of an attention bringer to our little games. A pony like a construction worker is a bit more risky, and I tend to try not to take them out. A teacher is a little higher on the risky list. My list keeps going until it hits the most risky of characters, the princesses. We wouldn't dare take one on, but with the rumor going around that Twilight had been released from the asylum, I have no doubt that she won't be a unicorn for long. I give her a year or two by this point to become a princess like Cadence, but maybe Celestia sees the insane asylum as a big no-no on her princess resume. It's funny how I think of things. I think of myself as deserving of being the prettiest mare. I told Inky before that I despise other pretty mares. They always get attention. They always get the stallions chasing after them. What do I get? Nothing from no other pony other than my family. Derpy, Apple Bloom, and Bad Seed. My favorite games to play are obviously the hook game, which we play quite often nowadays. My favorite that I made up, though, is called Turntable. It's a game where I blindfold the pony and then put them on a table that I fixed up myself. I made it to turn on a motor slowly, though. I then throw scalpels and see if I can chop off limbs, surround the pony in various sharp objects, or get them right in the center of the target metal and wooden board chest plate I made to cover their vital organs. I made it to where any pressure added to the board would feel like a punch to the pony, and once I broke some pony's rib cage playing it. I take my time to play with my victims. I talk to them, entertain them, snap their hooves like pencils if I so desire. Pinky lets me do whatever the hay I want with them, so long as I don't take out both eyes or kill them before the harvest. Speaking of which, when it comes to harvest time, I like to pull out each organ like a bandage. Quickly and painfully is how I do it. Once I get to the lungs, I slow down and take my time cutting the tubes and blood vessels, leaving the air tubes for last. As I'm doing this, I talk to my pony again. I talk about their life, about Minky, about killing my parents, and about how much no pony will care that they're gone. The last words my victims usually hear from me are, "Nighty-night, sleep tight, tell the devil that the bed bugs certainly do bite." With that, I grab the heart and chew the main artery in half, and then I yank it out of the chest, blood dribbling down my chin like lemonade off a hot summer's day. My share on cutie marks goes towards a variety of things, such as a vest, shirt, dress, etc. I will wear these sometimes, but when I'm working in the basement or in Pinky's room, it's quite fun to make these clothes with my sisters. I usually take them and make them for them, not myself.
Alright, Lena, you're up next.
Okay. Chapter 4, Minky Pie. I am Minky Pie, or Obsidian Pie. I was locked in a cellar for 20 years of my life, ever since I was a young filly. My parents thought I was evil, that I was sent here by the devil himself. How ridiculous is that? Needless to say, I got my revenge on them. I killed them, baked them, and sold them to the ponies in my village. Due to me being locked up for so long, I'm not as educated as the other ponies. Gorefic and I get along well because of this. I see the world as a place full of ponies who assume things, usually in the worst way, about ponies based on a few actions, much like my parents did. I see them all as a bunch of stereotyping fools who need to be given justice for such false assumptions. I see every pony as a pony who has either made good assumptions or poor ones, those with poor ones needing to be dead by my bare hooves. I have much to see and learn in this world that I was denied for most of my life. My favorite game was one we all share, the hook game. I need not explain it, since the others have, but it's a pretty gory and bloody, which I like. Just like the feeling of blood running down my hooves brings me back to the day my parents died. They deserved it for making me live my life that way. In a cold, dark, empty cellar. I lived off of the jam in there for 20 whole years, without knowing what love is, how good it feels to be cared about, how no life can truly be. I made up the hook game myself during a play date, and my sisters, Apple Bloom and Derpy, all loved it. What cutie marks I keep, I put into a small apron and a dress. I helped Jerky make her scarf with the cutie marks I don't use. I'm taking my time with this apron of mine, so I can find cutie marks that match and fit with each other. The time my play dates have varies, but it's mostly lasts 45 minutes to an hour. I always take my time, because I know how to be patient. I patiently waited in that darn cellar for my whole life. They should be happy they got to live life happily and free, unlike me who was in such poor condition that it was a miracle I survived. When it comes time to harvest, I slowly and carefully pull out each organ one by one. My play dates always scream and beg when I start, like I did 20 years ago. It pleases me to hear those pleads from another pony's mouth. When I hit the lungs, I pause for a second, and then I either smash the lungs in, or I pull them out, depending on what mood I'm in. I then grab the heart and pull it out, holding it in my hooves in front of my playdate's face, who is just about to see their own beating heart before they die painfully. It brings a smile to my face every time I kill a pony, knowing that it is one less pony that can judge others based on actions or appearances.
And that, my friends, is the end of this really short fanfic. It's actually kind of interesting. In fact, it actually kind of Cupcake's a bit more tolerable because they actually have like a bit of motivation. Cupcakes is still shit, IMO, but whatever. Anyway, that was that. I guess everyone just say your goodbyes.
Bye, have a beautiful time.
My chapter was 200 words longer than everybody else's. You'll be hearing from the Human Resources Department about this.
Okay, that was his goodbye. What about your goodbye, Drew?
Yeah,
Or can you call over?
Watched up. So I'm gonna sit. I'm really hungry, and I'm like, can't concentrate for shit.
Alright then. Well, that was the fanfic, and hope you all have a pleasant